It's another beautiful moment on Techbridge at Lagos Television. This is a platform where we connect all the dots around the world of technology and we'll give you the latest information and serve you hot and fresh. Today we'll be looking at a very important roles that technology plays when it comes to record and archive, because the past, the present, and the future depends on the record you keep. So technology plays a lot of importance when it comes to record and archive. I need to go on a quick break. My name is Tony Lagoke. You're welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Gerald Omaze. I'm an ICT personnel. You're watching Techbridge on Lagos Television.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Odeme. I am a data analyst. Keep watching Techbridge on Lagos Television.
Yeah, welcome back from that short break. And today we're talking about the role of technology in record and archive. And in the house we have Dr. Kola Oseni, who is a Director, Record and Archive at Lagos State Record and Archive Bureau. Dr. Kola Oseni, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And because I know technology has been backing up a lot of things these days. And so we want to know what is the role of technology when it comes to record and archive?
Thank you very much. Technology is one of the important tools that is enhancing the operation of archives and record management. Realizing the importance of record management in this new world, you see that there's a need for us to use the relevant material to be able to achieve efficient and effective management in Record and Archives Bureau, like what we obtained in where I work at Lagos Record and Archives Bureau. When we're talking of technology, we are talking about the ICT operation. We are talking about the recent Zoom webinar, operations that help us to transmit information, record, archives, even to other people. And it helps us to give access. We have adequate access. We have, because one of our major goals is to be able to preserve record and to be able to give it out for people to access, people who want to do research, people that want to do need any information. So recently, technology has helped us to be able to give access to public to access all this information. Is in the corner of their houses, they can know what record we have. It is through the help of technology. Even repository where we keep this record, they are important infrastructure that come with technology. Otherwise, before the way they were preserved, before you know it, all of them get bruised and bad. But now we have a lot of infrastructure that come with technology that help us to have a proper preservation of these materials.
Okay, that's interesting, because somebody told me or told us then that there's difference between technology and information management. But to common man, everything is the same. Those two are the same. Is there any difference between record and archive?
Thank you very much. When we are talking about difference between record and archives, in the first instance, facts that are gathered are referred to as data that are not processed, raw data. Now, but when data is processed, they become information. And information is what translates into records. We create and generate records every day. So records and archives is lit. When records become older, it become archives. And so when you want to see, you can see that there's a transmission between records and archives. There can never be archive without records. Not all records can be archives, but all information, they become records. But not all records, because when you look at this life cycle of records, you will see that it's just like when a life cycle of human being, a baby is born, crawling, and when that record is inactive. When it's very active, because there are 3 layers of record. We have active, non-active, and semi-active. And when record is active, that is when, is functioning. But it comes to a point when we don't use it as often as we use it. It becomes semi-active. And the last stage is when it's not active at all. We don't refer to them again. But there's some information, important information in those records. And those are what make some of those things to become archives. And like I was saying somewhere, you see, we are talking about records that have enduring value, and those are the records that end up being archives. So you can see the translation between creation of the records and how it's developed into archive. What make them archives? Like I said, not all records become archives, but those ones that become archives, it's because they have enduring value, like, physical value, economic. They have historical value because there are always story behind every story, history behind every story, and there's always administrative value, and there's a legal value. All this enduring value, when we are professional, we appraise them, we're going to be able to see this importance of this enduring value, and that makes us to put some of this thing in our repository for posterity.
I kept hearing repository. Now, is there any marriage of technology with the archive itself? What do you mean by a repository, and how can I achieve that?
Thank you very much. When we are talking of archives, let me give you a broader understanding. Archives could refer to three things. One, it could mean the institution, like us now. Like the National Archives London, the institution, the building, it could be referred to as archives. Secondly, the repository where these records are kept, they are also referred to as archives. Thirdly, the document that you come to consult, the document that was given to you, maybe you would come to do a research, that document is also referred to as archives. So it is where we are putting important records that has, mature to the point of archives. It's what we call repository. And they are not just ordinary. Which one of these, you come to facility visits in Lastrap, you will see how technology is helping us to take good care of those archival materials. Thank you.
That's good. Well, another thing is, so many people are looking at the economic value of record and archive. Now, to some people, they look at the past, the present, and the future. But are there any economic benefit to common man when it comes to archive and record and archive?
Fantastic. There is economic value, like I told you the other time, fiscal value. You see, people think when you are looking for information, they take it as ordinary. Even your birth certificate, when we want to look at record, look at what are fighter records. For example, fighter record like what an organization uses in the registration of their company, what they are using to administer that company. Those are regular, even individually. Your birth certificate, your school certificate, they are very vital record to you. If they are not available, you cannot. Many people lose some of a vital case in court because they don't have evidence which are coming from record. And I can assure you the importance of record. There was a case sometimes in Ibadan when a lawyer, remove one of the information from their records, of which they are using to do a case in court. Because there's a proper security check, it was discovered and it was put into jail, maybe about 3 or 5 years imprisonment, because of the vital information, because he's not making other people to have access to those records so that he can win the case. So you can see the importance of record when it comes to legality, when it comes to evidence, and it's a memory of the state. For example, in Lagos State, it helps us for planning, for proper planning. It helps Lagos State, for good governance. Because without all this information, referring to past activities of other governor, the new governor needs this information to run. Yes. And you see many people come, and we, like I used to say, we are just like a bank. It is what you deposit with us that you can come and collect. And that's why we're encouraging everybody to to come, individual organization, to come and deposit their vital record with us so that we can be able to
So you're more or
protect them
less,
for posterity.
you're more or less like a bank for data. So
Yes.
okay, that's good. Now, the advent and the recent time, we have modernization, we have technology, we have innovations. Has modernization or innovation eroded record and archive functions? Is there any way this has impacted either negatively or positively when it comes to modernization?
Well, modernization is a process of improving from the old to the new. So ordinarily, I would say modernization has helped proper record and archive management, because we have ISO, we have standard, a global standard of which is kind of SOP, standard operation procedure, that you have to follow. And these things are done repeatedly and checked. And that is why I want to say that modernization has helped. But there's nowhere how anybody can be so beautiful that we not have one thing or the other that can be a minus. And that is why we say that modernization has also, affected the authenticity of some of this record. Like many people, they through the modernization, they can doctor things through the computer and kind of changing information. But unlike the older way we do it, you can't change any information. It's fine. But with scanning, digitization, many things can be altered, and that is a minus, and it's modernization.
So there is nothing that has positive,
Yes.
that does not have negative. So the negative aspect, well, to me, the positive outweigh the negative, actually.
Yeah,
now, let's go
right.
into something like document control. I don't know. Are there tools we need to know or we need to have understanding on or of when it comes to record keeping and archive? What are the tools? What are the things we need to know as common people?
Thank you very much. Beside the technological infrastructure equipment that we have been talking about, I used to tell people, like, no matter the security, surveillance or circuit that you have, without human being, it is not complete.
It's not efficient.
It is not complete, it's not efficient. In the same way, for any archive and record management to be sustainable, and one of the important tools, I also refer to as tool, is the training of a professional archivist who ensure that these records are properly managed. So that's the first tool. No matter the infrastructure you have, and also, the emergence of technology has also accelerated, the networking of mankind, into a global village. The whole world. So you can begin to appreciate that networking is also part of tool, collaboration with other organizations, teamwork. Because if like an institution, if we don't have some materials, we can always send to, like I'm writing a letter to the National Archive London requiring for information that some of our clients require. So these are part of what I consider as a tool, because when you are not networking, when you are not, linking with other people, you cannot run properly. So besides training and capacity building, or people involved in record and camera management, is an important tool. I can be mentioning a computer. I can mention, in our reprography, we have different kind of computer that can send message, from here to any part of the world. Those are tools. But most importantly, we need, like a finding it, something that make access to record, easy. We need a proper, documentation of this information in computer system.
Okay. So we're talking about the soft copy, the
Yes.
regular electronic versions of all this record, and from what you said, I've understood that man or men
It's
is
important.
important as a tool. So networking is another is gadget like computer.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to record and archive, one critical part is security. Whether physical record or electronic record, how do you manage security of all these record and archive? What are the things about security there?
Thank you very much. Like I said, we are archives anywhere in the world is the memory of that state, that country, And whether you like it or not, there are a lot of vital documents that are kept. So security is one of the important. And when you see, if you've been to our facility, you see that we are located far away from, activities, filling station, whatever. To this part of the effort to secure that archive. Secondly, when you come to our facility, you see, not everybody can access where important record, our repository. Even the Director General may not be able to access it because somebody is giving a responsibility so that if anything happens, you know who to take responsible for. So it's part of the security. Beside the surveillance, beside there's also a strong need for what we call it a kind of SOP. What the system we are using in running the system. So you cannot just do anything. It's standard operation procedure. So that standard operation procedure, it's also a line of security by which, if anything happens, you know who is doing it. Because it goes beyond just bringing soldier or police to guide record. Technology, and let me tell you, like we are talking technology, it's also one of the security way because you cannot have access without having the code, even to open the computer or to open the repository. So these are basic, and even to, for example, currently, because of this SARS and where the world is going, digitization and, scanning of all our documents is now put in front burner. We thank the Lagos State Governor that is supporting us in this respect. We are almost digitizing some of our records, and it's also part of security for those records because they are now secure and nobody can have access to them.
I see, because in most organizations they have what they call maker and checker, just like a control scope of operation, which is very, very important because if one person has access to everything, then there's no security. So I really buy with what you said. I buy into what you said in saying that even the Director General or whatsoever, everybody has his own scope of work so that at least you can know who's doing what. Now, my final question is going to be this. Now, in the time past, I've been hearing something like escrow, that when you have archive and record, you equally have a backup or you have another place where you keep those things. Like in case of eventualities, you have something you can fall back to. Now, I'm not talking about database now. I'm talking about escrow. I'm talking about having extra copies. When it comes to record and archive, what is the importance of having extra copies of all these things, and how can we achieve that?
Thank you very much. That activities is one of the vital and important activities in archive and record management. We call it offsite. Sometimes you have to have a copy of what you have in another place in case of, look at what happened, many things we lost, during this inside, at the court. Yes. Important pre-colonial record is so painful. You see, fine, upside can be, and with the new technology now, many things are stored in the cloud, for preservation. But let me tell you, when it comes to real archival materials, and that's why we have to be very careful about it. Archival materials, sometimes they don't have two copies. It's just one, and you have to protect it. So doing offsite, fine, it can be other document, but there's some document that you can make a copy and put somewhere. But there's some document that you cannot make a copy. With a copy of it, it doesn't make any meaning again. So besides having a record center where we keep this record and repository, which is in there, nobody can go there anyhow, we need to also have a kind of offsite where we keep some of these records in case of emergency, and scanning them, digitizing them is also part of how we preserve them, offsite.
That's interesting because that one is basically for documents, because archive is not just about documents from what I've been told. Archive equally includes some items, some equipment, like in Benin lately, when the governor and the Obas were trying to find out about the artifacts. Now, when it comes to archive, is it only document? No, we need to just let people know. Is it only document that can keep or I can archive? Are there other things I need to know about archiving?
Yes, thank you very much. Sometimes people miss archives, with museum, and with library.
Okay.
They are three different things, but they look very much alike. I'm an archaeologist, so I know what we're talking about with Benin material artifacts. You see, those are also very important items in their own right, but they are kept in the museum. They don't need to find their way into the archives.
Okay.
That is not our mandate, it's not a priority.
Okay.
And though in our place we have what we call a mini archives, a mini museum, just designed to, let people, students that comes around to have information about material that are peculiar to Lagos State, so these are part of, but when we are talking of archival material, we are talking virtually about, documents, records generated, for posterity and kept for posterity. The library is book, open book that are put in shelf. Like I was saying, we have repository, and even we have what we call the reference library. In archival institution, we have reference library. We don't just have any book anywhere. So that when you need it, you cannot come and be reading in our reference library. It's only special book that are kept there. So when it comes to archival institution, we are dealing with documents, we are dealing with records, and we are having to keep them in the repository. But library, they put them in the shelf. We have shelf too. I mean, some of these are put, but open shelf for that matter. Whereas in the museum, artifact, object of importance are also, kept in the museum.
Thank you, my guest. That's been wonderful, and I'm happy that you're able to explain to us when it comes to record and archive and the importance and the rules of technology in all these fields that we find ourselves. And I want to believe that subsequently people will know the importance. They'll begin to do the needful, because so many people have certificates, birth certificates, their certificate, their marriage certificate, wedding certificate, and all manner of certificates littered all around. However, this needs to be properly kept. Thank you for coming on this program, and we hope that when we call you for another episode, you will come around.
Thank you very much.
My guest has been Dr. Kola Oseni. We have to go on a quick break, after which we'll be rounding things up. Yeah, welcome back from that short break. My guest has actually delved and spoken extensively when it comes to the role of technology in record and archive. For your past and present and future, you need to ensure that all those records are properly kept. But the role of technology is for you to have digitization, to have modernization, and to be sure that you can enjoy all these things that you've kept. For your information, there is no need for you to be worried. Technology has made everything easier. You can have document control system. You can have even scanner, ordinary scanner. You can use it to scan all your documents and keep all those things even in the cloud. That is a basic record and archiving. Though we have bodies, we have agencies, we have board managing all these things. Like in Lagos State, we have LASRA who is managing this. In London, they have their own. And the good thing about all these things is it helps us to be able to track what has happened in the time past, helping us to plan for the future. And that is why we've done this on Techbridge today. My name is Tony Lagoke. Ensure that you join us at 1:30 every Tuesday, and you can equally hook up on the Facebook and YouTube, Techbridge LTV. I have to go now. Bye.